The Crossing is a film that follows a group of Syrian refugees all the way from Egypt across the Mediterranean into asylum camps across Europe and documents their lives both in Europe and on the journey across. I mean, today, when you look at, say, how the stories about refugees are told, it's always spoken about in these large terms, in sociological terms, like this is a big problem. I mean, it's always about a problem that needs to be managed, and I think it's so important to kind of put a face to who we're talking about. That these are our fellow human beings fleeing war and persecution, as we would all do if we were in the same circumstances. And I think it's really important to keep highlighting that against this slew of negative messaging that's going on, Trump downwards. When the film started, I was following a bunch of very well skilled, talented individuals, and they were discovering what it meant to be a refugee. And so I was discovering it through their eyes and through their experiences. And I think often what gets missed out in this facile retelling of what it is to be a refugee. Like, you constantly hear, oh, the refugees are here for a better life, or they have it easier than us, or we, the taxpayers, shoulder the burden, blah, 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 and onward it goes. But I think often the point of why people leave without a choice is completely missed in that way of looking at things. When people leave their country, their homes, their community, and everything that they hold dear, it's not really the kind of, for something as facile as a better standard of life. It's because life itself is threatened where they're living. And this kind of right-wing propaganda, which is kind of sweeping the world right now, in terms of how refugees are portrayed, I think it's very, very important to counter that with facts. As to why they're coming, what caused them to leave in the first place. Because it must not be forgotten that we're all quite implicated in the wars that are displacing these people in the first place. I mean, I think the refugee crisis, as it's being come to be called these days, this is a eye-opening moment for all of us to look at what it is to be the citizen of one particular country as opposed to the other. There was a time when I was sitting on a plane flying across the Mediterranean, knowing that the people I was following are in a boat down below for absolutely no other reason but their passport. What is it about me that lets me fly while they get to be in a leaky boat down there? So I think these questions really need to be asked about what are these borders for, how are these borders managed, and what are the fears that motivate us into, like Trump and what he says, he's going to build a big, beautiful wall is how he categorizes the whole idea. And this, whose fears are we playing into? What are we afraid of losing? And what are we losing ourselves by pandering to these fears? And I think this needs to be debated and discussed a lot more openly.